Hey gang, Coach Casey back with you. Today I want to jump in and discuss 3 stages of training that are vital if you want a true off-leash dog. I offer a 6-phase formula, and within that 6-phase formula are these 3 stages that I'm going to talk about. But first, let's talk about quickly what true off-leash training is. And you guys hear me say that all the time, true off-leash training. And to me, what that is taking a dog through the proper phases of training, teaching with clarity, teaching the communication so the dog understands what you're asking. We're not creating crutches. We're not using gadgets. We're not using tools on the dog that, you can never take off, that kind of thing. And I'm not bad-mouthing any tools at all, but, for you guys that, like your remote collars, I use those. There's a time and place. I don't use them on every dog. I know some people that do. To me, it's a time and place, but that's not going to allow you true off-leash reliability unless you're using it a certain way, and most people aren't using it that way. What they do is they combine the phases of training with a remote collar, and it's advertised as off-leash when in reality, to me, it's invisible, right? If you have a remote in your hand and your dog's wearing a collar, that's not true off-leash reliability. You're relying on something, and if that makes sense, that's what I'm talking about, right? So what I'm going to share with you today is how to get that reliability off-leash, outdoors, around distractions, without having to have a remote, without having to have these gadgets, all these tricks up your sleeve to get your dog to come back, rattle in the treat bag, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to jump in and kind of share with you right now. All right, so here we go. The 3 stages to building a true off-leash dog. Let's start with saying that. 3 stages that lead to how's that? You read that okay? 3 stages that lead you to true off-leash training with your dog. All right, and basically these can be started. You can take a puppy and start implementing the first stage, which is going to be a learning stage. I'm going to get to that right now. And you can take a puppy at any age and start doing that. A lot of people say, well, let's wait until a certain age to start training. Let's wait until this to start training. And it does you no good because puppies don't grow out of, problems. They're going to grow into them. So you could start your puppy or your dog at any age. And stage number 1, which is I always apologize about my writing. It's not the best. It could be worse, but learning. All right. And an example of a learning stage in training, guys, is what if you've ever enrolled in training and you've taken your dog to any kind of training at all, you've gone through a learning phase. And it's a lot of treats. Treats are involved. I use a ton of treats. I'm shaping behaviors. You're teaching them what commands mean. You're teaching how to, this is what this means. This is sit. This is down. Right? We're using a lot of treats. We do a lot of luring. It's all positive reinforcement. That's what a learning phase is, or a learning stage. And you can stay there with a young puppy. You don't have to go out of a learning phase until they get a little bit older. My point is that start with your puppy early. And this is the first stage in training. Every dog needs to go through a learning phase, right? You can't expect a dog to know so if it hasn't been taught. So learning is obviously the first stage in training. Here's what happens. For a lot of dogs that do go through training, once they complete this stage in training, they also graduate. And that's the huge problem. You can't be done just because your dog understands what words mean. Oh yeah, he knows what sit means. He knows what come means. He knows how to do this. He knows how to do that. But does he do it when someone rings the doorbell? Does he do it when you're outside and you see another dog or a squirrel? That's what I'm talking about. True off-leash training. If you want that kind of reliability, stay tuned because I'm going to show you the next 2 stages that'll get you there. But first, what you have to do is you have to teach your dog everything, right? Doesn't that make sense? You can't go any farther without teaching your dog what things mean. And again, this is the vital part in all of training is to get out of a learning phase. Once you're in it and your dog knows what stuff means, you got to go to the next phase. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now. What people are doing, actually, I'm going to leave it right here. Reinforcing phase, right? And I'm saying phase, stage, it doesn't matter. I know I mix them up a lot because they're stages, it's all the same thing. I just kind of mix those words around. But so if you hear me saying both words, it's the same thing. But my point is you have a learning stage or phase, you have a reinforcing stage or phase, and you have a third, which I'm going to get to. But what people are doing is they're staying up here for way too long. Once your dog knows what something means, if you hold up a treat and you look at your dog and you say sit and they put their bottom on the ground, they're done with the learning phase with the sit command. They need to go to the reinforcing phase. What's happening, people are staying up here and they're not going into reinforcing because they don't know how, because they graduated after the dog knew what something meant, right? So what that looks like is if you're stuck in a learning phase, here's what you're doing. You're looking at your dog and you're saying sit, they don't do it. You got to get a treat out to bribe them maybe. Sit, sit. Oh yeah, there you go. And then you give them the treat. Or maybe you don't have the treat and you have to repeat your command. Sit, sit, Fido, sit, sit. There you go, good boy. And then you praise them. You're stuck right here. You're not learning and how to go to a reinforcing phase so they understand how to communicate with you. You're repeating your commands. It's keeping you up here. It's keeping them in charge. If you got to repeat your commands or hold up a treat or something, you got to shake the bag of treats. Sorry, I lost my words there. If you got to shake your bag of treats, if you got to hold up a treat, those are bribes. It's completely different between having a treat in your pocket and you looking at a dog and say, sit. And they say, oh, that's a good boy. And you bring the treat out and then use it as a reward. Completely different than having a treat right here and going, sit. One, if you're not in charge, your dog's not going to do that. And that's what I'm saying is once you get to that point, a learning phase, your dog's sitting, get rid of the treats and go to the reinforcing phase. This is where you're going to learn how to reinforce the consequence of their decision making. When you say sit, this is what happens when you do it, and this is what happens when you don't. When I say come, this is what happens when you do it, and this is what happens when you don't. When I tell you get on your place board, this is what happens when you do it, and this is what happens when you don't. That's a reinforcing phase. You see how crucial that is to teach a dog the consequence of their decisions? They know what it means. You got to take them through the reinforcing phase and show them how it works. Instincts are going to try to take over all the time, but you just reinforce, say, okay, no, we do it this way, you do it this way. So guess what? The third and final, here, I'll leave it in green. Third and final stage or phase, whatever you want to call it, proofing. Proofing is short for distraction proofing, okay? Your dog knows what it means. They know what sit means. Now, you've been through a reinforcing phase. You've gotten rid of the treat. You look at your dog and say sit. They know what happens when they sit. They know what happens when they don't. Now you take that sit and you proof it. Now you take that out to a scenario that can be hectic. Take them out to the park. Take them outside. Take them in the backyard. Take them in the front yard. Take them where there's distractions going on, reality scenarios, and make them sit. They know what it means. They know what happens when they try not to. Now you make them do it in reality scenarios. Right? That's how you get true off-leash training. It's all about communication. It's all about clarity. Obviously there's little tricks through the process of keeping the J in your line. I always tell clients from day one, from session one, if you're keeping a loose leash and your snap is laying down and there's always a J in your leash, your dog's basically off leash. You're not feeding them any information. And we do that from day one so once we get through the proofing, distraction proofing, you can get them off leash. That would be the next phase is unleashing. But you can't unleash a dog until it's been proofed around distractions. You can't proof a dog around distractions if they don't know the consequence of their decision making. Right? You can't teach them the consequence of their decision making if they don't know what something means. So that's reverse engineering it. You can see it that way. But most people, again, this is it. They take their dog through training. They know what all this stuff means, so they're done. And again, when they really need it to happen, which should have been proofed, they have no control. All right, guys? So I hope that makes sense. Learning, reinforcing, proofing. Take your dog through these three phases. You can sit down here and proof and proof and proof and proof your dog for weeks, months, years if you want to. And this is the high-end training. Their dogs have been proofed around everything. proofed around the mailman, proofed around the walks, proofed on the recalls, you know, when it's very hectic. Anywhere you go, you proof your training. They know what it means, so they'll do it. All dogs want to do is please you. I'm going to leave you with that. All dogs want to do is please you. Most people just don't understand a simple system to show them how to do so consistently. All right? Hope you found this valuable. All right, there you go, guys. All three phases: learning, reinforcing, proofing. This is the roadmap to true off-leash reliability. These are three phases that I have within 6 of mine. I basically just offer awareness for the owners, and then down here, unleashing and how to maintain. And that to me is 6 phases. That's kind of what I've created a formula. But with that formula, these are the 3 vital stages that you've got to complete no matter what: learning, reinforcing, and proofing. All right, guys, down below in that pinned comment, there's a little link. I want you to click it. Go check out that video. It's me explaining all 6 phases. It's a short video, doesn't take long. Check out those 6 phases, and I guarantee you it's going to make a lot of sense. All right? Until next time, I'm Coach Casey. Have a phenomenal one.